Today's guest is Sam Maxwell, CEO and co-founder of the Cold Life, the world's biggest cold plunge company backed by both Gary Brecka and Mark Wahlberg. He's a dear friend of mine and has one of the craziest stories ever. Dropping out of college, getting kicked out of his parents' house, being addicted to Adderall. And in this episode, we dive deep into his story, hustle culture, burnout, and the people game. So with that being said, if you get value from this episode, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and enjoy the show. Sam Maxwell, like one of my fucking favorite guys in the entire world. Like that day that we had in Miami, it was awesome. And when I don't know if you remember the text that I sent you, but it was like, I appreciate you so much. But one of the best things that anybody my age could ask for is an experience that shifts your worldview and your world perspective of like what's possible. When I spent a day with Justice Palmer, that shifted my world perspective and view. When I spent a day with you, shifted my worldview. The other day when I spent one with Eleanor Osrugo, shifted my worldview. And so like that's the most amazing thing in the world. And you have such a freaking incredible story that I can't wait to share. But I seriously just want to focus on what you just said a second ago, which is burnout. And when you say burnout, I think of addictive personality. And that's some shit that I'm dealing with too right now. It's just like, I feel depleted. It's like I put in so much work for something, but then the result's not there. And then I feel like an inferior person and I just feel like a piece of shit. And I've got to think that sometimes you face that, especially as a successful entrepreneur, struggling a little bit right now. So how do you balance the burnout and what strategies do you have in place to make that better?
Perfect time to ask me that question because I implemented some changes in my life as little as 72 hours ago. Was burnt out this weekend, wasn't really enjoying the weekend, which I feel like I haven't enjoyed weekends in quite some time. I don't believe it's good to operate your life, especially as an entrepreneur, where you look forward to the weekends. You shouldn't live for Saturday and Sunday. But they're there also for a reason. You should use those as sometimes a rest day or to do something for yourself and get active and do something that makes you happy outside of making money and growing a company. So for me, I identified just recently, referring to that, I was working every single day from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. Why was I miserable and why was I unhappy? Because I wasn't enjoying life in any shape or form or way besides working, staring at my screen, talking about selling cold plunges, growing the cold life, how we're going to scale our new filtered shower heads, ads, staring at numbers in Shopify. And I wasn't having any fulfillment outside of the day. I wasn't really appreciating or acknowledging anything else I could be grateful for besides making money. I was allowing a bad day in sales to affect me to have a bad day. If we had a good day in sales, though, I realized I also wasn't technically having a good day because it wasn't good enough. So I've kind of changed my current routine where Wednesdays and Fridays after 6 p.m., I don't work on my business and I don't do any consulting or anything else on the side. It is time for myself to spend time with the boys, me to go do things that make me happy, whether it's playing padel, going to the gym, spending time with my girlfriend, or just sitting on the couch and watching TV like a normal human being and just turning off my brain. And then on the weekends, all day Saturday, for the most part, I'm going to check Slacks and some other things and check our ad account, but I'm not going to work as much as possible. And then Sundays is a half day and I get prepared for the week. So I went from 7 days a week, never having anything to look forward to besides repeating the same thing every single day, to now I'm trying to just put a few things on my schedule every week that I have something to look forward to. So on those Wednesdays and Fridays, I'm making plans where I also don't have the option to work because I have commitments that I have committed to doing, whether that's a date night with my girl or going to a hockey game or a baseball game or going to watch football with the boys. I just had to fill up my schedule because that's what makes me happy. I'm an active guy and I'm a social guy, and I wasn't being social and I wasn't being active. So that's why I was miserable.
Is it because something I've found, and I'm looking inward with myself, my life, but other successful people, it's like you're always driven, you're working around the clock, but I don't know what the fuck fulfills me. Like going to a baseball game and football game, is that really going to fulfill me, or is it actually just going to make me anxious because I feel like I'm not doing anything?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I felt that this summer, 3 weeks in Europe, beautiful different cities and countries I've ever been to before, whether I was spending a lot of money or not. I'm in all these beautiful places, that are once in a lifetime experiences, and I was miserable. And it's because I couldn't turn my brain off. I'm thinking about, I'm not on my phone. My phone's right over there. What notifications have I got since this last hour of me enjoying some sun and trying to close my eyes? The reason why you can't get that fulfillment when you're not working is because we all struggle to turn this off. You're thinking about what you could be doing, what the new post you made on social media is doing engagement wise, or waiting on that text on a deal you're trying to close. So I've trying to kind of just trained myself where I'm like, it's more of a flex and it's more of a healthy ego to be an operator and to operate your life as a business owner where you don't have to be on 24/7 for things to function and things can wait until tomorrow. I'm not
Mm,
a good high ego alpha entrepreneur where I feel like things are going to fall apart if I'm not on my phone for an hour or a day. You know, you're doing things right and you have a good team and you have good structure and you're doing the right thing and running a good business. If you, as the operator or as the founder, can step away and know things can wait until tomorrow, or hey, I can step away for a few hours and everything's going to be the same. At the end of the day, the results are going to be the same. You post an Instagram post, for example, you sitting on your phone staring at it and refreshing it and being active on a few different posts isn't going to make your post go viral. The engagement is
Yeah.
going to be the same one way or another. If you're running ads for your company and I'm on my phone staring at Shopify, I'm not clicking magic buttons for more sales to come in the door. If I put my phone down, the ads are still going to spend and the same sales are going to come in the door. So I had to like break it down that way where I was like, dude, you're miserable for no reason. And the outcome is the outcome regardless. Turn off, and you're actually a better operator when you find peace and happiness outside of obsessing about your
Yeah.
business.
I think it's actually Kian brought this up to me,
Shout out
because
to
with the
Kian.
whole quitting, I love that guy. Shout out Kian. Oh, I'll set up this podcast so he listens to this. But he brought this up to me and he was talking about quitting my job. It's like I'm struggling so much in the head, like frantic, panic. I'm taking action just to take action. He's like, it's normal because your entire life it's been structure. It's school, it's parents, it's college, then it's fraternity, then it's corporate job. There's always something that is telling you what to do. And then boom, now you're in a completely different state of uncertainty. It's rewiring your brain and identity. And the whole burnout thing and why it's impressive that you're able to take time off and find fulfillment, I think, is because you probably hypnotize yourself your entire life that if you do find fulfillment and you take off that Wednesday and Friday, then you're lazy and it doesn't make sense. It's like I feel like I've hypnotized that way too. I feel guilty in trying to find like happiness and pleasure sometimes, but it's actually diminishing returns and it just whacks me up
Yeah.
way worse.
Yeah. And I had a similar conversation with Kian before as well about this misery and not having any happiness and peace in my life. And all I do is work. And he's like, well, let me ask you a question. And sometimes, as we all know, Kian asks us very simple questions that you would think we have thought of before, but for whatever reason, we haven't. And once we respond and say the answer out loud, we're like, what the heck? Why am I
Yeah.
overthinking this? Which is just the exact situation right here. He goes, I'm going to ask you one question. Why are you an entrepreneur? Why are you a business owner? And I was like, to be able to work for myself and have freedom. He goes, exactly. And you're not abusing that. You're not taking advantage of that. You're a slave to your own business, but it's your business. Why are you not turning off on a Friday night? Or why are you feeling obligated to work on a weekend? You'd show you're doing this for freedom. But the reason why you're miserable is because you're not taking advantage of the actual freedom you have. You're a
Yeah.
slave to what you do, and you need to change that. And I did. And sometimes I forget that still. I forgot that a week ago. And I was like that since January 1st, just working like a dog. And then I remembered that conversation just like I did with a lot of conversations that I've had with him, where I reflect on, I feel very similar right now to how I felt in the past. And what did I do in the past to fix that? And I replayed those conversations in my head. So I first off, I want to say I'm proud of you for quitting that job. I really am.
Thank you.
I'm excited
I
for you, dude.
appreciate it.
We will dive into that if you want to in a little bit. But when I met
Yeah.
you, I think I asked you I think right when we got to the gym, I was like, I think I asked you straight. I'm like, so when are you quitting your job? I was just like, I'm just gonna challenge this guy. I'm like, why does this guy have a 9 to 5 job? And then you FaceTime Jack and you're like, Jack, Sam's got a question for both of us. When are we quitting?
Yeah.
That was awesome. But I'm glad to see you did it, dude. Seriously.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a big, little whirlwind, and also for people that don't like, Kian is my coach, and the reason why, or my mindset coach, and the reason why I got him is actually because of Sam. He told me a story that sold me on him. But anyway, I actually just got off the phone with him, and today I woke up this morning and I was like, depressed feelings. You know, you have those
Yeah.
feelings where like you do not want to get out of bed, and you don't want to get out of bed so you don't have to face reality and the problems of today. And I felt that way. But I forced myself out of bed and I went for a run. And he's like, "Why the fuck did you do that?" He's like, "You should have sat in bed and sulked in it all day." I'm like, "What? Why would I ever want to do that? Like, that would be the worst thing in the world." But that's the type of stuff he says. He's like, "Just sit in it. Sit in it for an entire day and stop trying to force and take frantic action and then watch what will happen." And I was like, "Okay. Next time I'll
So
try that."
Anthony's sleeping in tomorrow.
Next, well, not tomorrow, but maybe the day after. But it's just like weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting point I wanted to bring up. All right, let's tie into your story. So, where's the best way to start this? Is this in high school
Yeah.
when you had the little fallout with the parents and everything?
Yeah. Yeah. We can start there. So in high school, you could say, which a lot of people hearing this and watching this can probably relate. I was a very rebellious, entitled, shithead of a kid. Parents were always wrong, and I wanted to always break the rules. And as soon as I discovered alcohol, and then shortly after that, weed, that became the priority of being cool, and that was the cool thing to do in high school. And I got into all that stuff at a super young age in 8th grade, going into high school. And my junior year in high school, I got sent off to military school in Virginia at Hargrave Military Academy. My parents were just like done with me. They were like, "You're not listening to us. You keep breaking the rules, no matter how much, we ground you and this and that. You won't listen. So hopefully this will give you some structure, and hopefully you'll come back as a better son and have some better structure in your life before you go off into the real world." And I'm very fortunate to have parents that have always provided for me. They've never left me stranded or not provided with a roof over my head and food and support me with sports and etc. But during that time period, it was tough, and I despised my parents. I hated them. They sent me away. It felt like juvie. Even though it was super expensive, and then yet again, I got 3 meals a day, and it wasn't the end of the world. But I wasn't back at public school with all the hot girls and being able to party every weekend and get in trouble. So, came back my senior year and continued back on the same path, doing the same things. It was an absolute waste of my parents' money. And my dad told me to my face, "Hey, listen, our rules are very straightforward, and you're not clearly willing to follow them. So if you're not willing to this year follow our rules, which is don't smoke weed, get a 3.0 GPA, and have some type of plan on why you want to go to college, then I'm not supporting you after you turn 18 years old. Legally, I don't have to support you after you turn 18." And my dad's a very practical man that will stick you to rules and facts. And that's a fact. After being 18 years old, legally, they don't have to support me. I'm an adult, right? So my senior year, I was running a pressure washing business, which giving my dad props. He helped me start that. I was fortunate to have a dad that grew up the corporate ladder. He was a rare breed. He never had a college degree, but he went from, being at the bottom of the barrel with Enron and Enron going under. And my dad then from there working his way up in corporate America again with Morgan Stanley and all the way up to an executive director. Um, my dad, identified himself like this is not the life. No matter how high up you get, you're always working for somebody else. Wherever they want to move you and your family, you got to go, or you don't have a job. And you work super, super long hours. And my dad
Your
told me,
dad was telling you that.
yeah, yeah, my dad would always give me these life, pieces of advice like, "Hey, college is not for everybody, but if you want to go, I will support you, but you got to have a plan." And for me, I was like, F college. I'm going for fun. I'll figure it out. I don't know my plan. I don't need a plan. So as I kept repeating those things to him during my senior year, as he's trying to give me advice and help me figure out what I'm going to do. He told me, he's like, "Listen, well, if you're not going to be supported by me and you're not going to college under my dime, you need to start making money and learning in the real world." So he helped me start a pressure washing business. And I think my
Mhm.
senior year, I made $30,000, $40,000 pressure washing. And that taught me more people skills. I've always been kind of fearless to talk to anybody. It
Yeah.
taught me how to communicate with people. It taught me a little bit about sales. I hired some friends of mine that worked for me. It was cool working with friends at the time. I didn't ever want to work alone. We'd be drinking Fireball in the backyard of the house we were pressure washing or smoking weed. I mean, I was not taking the business seriously, which my dad caught on to pretty quickly. But that helped me. You know, I earned it. I worked for it. My dad invested some money and he got paid back for the money he helped front on that side, but it helped me get some cushion in the bank. But what did that do? That drove my ego at 18, having 10, 20, 30 grand in the bank, more money than any of my friends. I was the man. I would buy the beer for the parties, throw all the money on food if anyone forgot their wallet, which naturally my friends would every
Yeah.
time forget their wallet. We always had those friends growing up, or still do. And At 18, I was on my own. I went to a community college in Athens, Georgia. The plan was to go to UGA, but I knew deep down I was never going to get into UGA, and went to college with like 20, 30 grand in my name. I moved into a house with 5 guys, thought that was a good idea, which found out shortly after that was probably one of the worst ideas all 5 of us could have ever made. And partied my ass off. Spent all my money first semester, went to every Georgia game and Ole Miss, Alabama. I traveled all over to every school, was doing a lot of things I should not have done. Took a student loan out as well for my financial aid for college. So I was in like 20 grand of student loan debt. And after my first semester, I'd gained like 30 pounds. I was broke and I had like a 1.6 GPA off like 9 credits. And I was just like, dude, like, this is my money. I'm like, dude, like, I'm in debt. If I stay on this path, I'm going to be like a sixth or seventh year. I'm going to be in tons of even more debt. And I have no idea what I want to do. You know what? I'm going to drop out and I'm going to go back to pressure washing. So my entire second semester of my freshman year, I would drive an hour back home to my hometown to pressure wash a few days a week and on the weekends. But I would make just enough money to pay my rent, which was like $500 a month at the time, get some beer money, some other party money. And I would just do that. And I did that the whole semester. I just wasted a few more months of my life
Yeah.
just working to party and live in the college town, but as a dropout. Um, and after that, you know, I really didn't have a good relationship with my parents that entire year. We didn't talk a lot. I despised them. I blamed them for being the reason why I was where I was in my life, which at the end of the day, obviously it was my fault. And I learned that more over time and took accountability for that. And after that first year ended, or at least ended, I ran away from my problems again. I moved to Waco, Texas, to move in with a lifetime best friend of mine named AJ. He was going to Baylor. And I packed up my truck when I was 16. My dad had me buy my first vehicle. At the time, I was doing some pressure washing, not as seriously, and I had some cash, and he made me buy my car. So I owned my truck. I owned my bed, dresser, and clothes. And I literally just packed up all my shit, drove 12 hours to Texas, and wasted another 6 months of my life just running from my problems. I lived in a house in Baylor. I think my parents know now. If not, I'll have them watch this to find it out. We'll talk more about it. But I was just selling weed. I was living in the Fiji house. They called it Jailhouse. My nickname was Jailhouse Sam. A great nickname, great title to be known as. And I lied to my parents saying I was working for a construction company because I did blue collar stuff. So I like wearing boots and I liked, you know, I have ADHD, OCD. I like building things, cleaning things, fixing things up. So I thought that might be something I would get into. But I ended up getting a job at Planet Fitness. I lasted, I think, 5 days. And I think that was officially my last ever job I ever took. I was 20 at the time and lived in Baylor for 6 months, had a good time. And after that, I was like looking at myself as people are re-signing their leases and I made friends and they're like, Jailhouse Sam, you want to move in with us next year? And at first I was reacting and I was like, yeah, like I'm down. Like I'm down. And then after a few days of sitting on it, I was like, why in the world would I be watching all of these other people getting degrees, chasing their dreams, in school for a reason, not wasting every single day of their young adult lives just partying and going day by day with no progress and wasting another 12 months of doing that? I need to ground myself and I need to start over. and I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. So I declined the offers to resign, packed up my shit, drove 12 hours back home, asked my parents if I could move back in to get back on my feet. My parents love me. I'm their son at the end of the day. They let me move back in, and they let me restart. So my dad at the time took over my pressure washing company. He actually quit corporate America, brought white collar into blue collar, saw the
Oh,
potential that I
wow.
didn't see in the pressure washing business. Still today runs it. It's very successful. He's hopefully going to be getting out of it soon. He's grown it to be a very big company. And I was then working for my dad on a company that I felt like I started, which I technically did, but my ego was ticked off. um, was trying to work on a relationship and working with my dad in our past. We butted heads so much. I hated that he was my boss. I hated that I was living in my parents' basement. And I'm watching everybody still living the life that I wanted. I'm social. They're going on formals, spring break. Everyone's got new girlfriends and new friends. And I'm just like watching from the sidelines from our hometown, like back to the stomping grounds, same drive every day I did in high school, and I'm like the only one of few guys in town living with my parents, and I'm broke. So that was when I finally came across drop shipping at the end of 2018, in November of 2018. I saw some friends from high school that were making $1,000 a day, and I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. I need to give this a try. I don't want to be covered in bleach and dirt every day the rest of my life and do blue collar work. And
Yeah.
I started drop shipping, and then did 12 grand my first 8 days. Did 100 grand my third month, got obsessed with it, was on a ton of Adderall at the time, worked day in and day out. And then 7, 8 years later, now I own the Cold Life and own a real legitimate e-commerce business.
Let's before we go into the drop shipping, so I think this is a unique point and I want to understand your perspective. And I think a lot of my audience deals with this, but when you were in college that first semester and you were just like going and getting banged up every single weekend, even though you knew it was bad for you, like if you go back to the time and your youth at that point in life and like your mind, what was going on inside your head that led you to keep repeating the same extremely destructive behaviors?
I think it was the distraction of it was the norm of everyone I surrounded myself with. So if I wasn't doing it, I didn't feel normal because it was normal because of everyone I was surrounded by. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, you just essentially you're a product of your environment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then something you also brought up was like people skills, people skills. So you do this pressure washing thing and you start to understand people a little bit better. When the term people skills comes up, I know what pops into my head. But for you right now, when you hear people skills, what pops into your head?
It's a skill, and it's a priceless skill. It's gotten me where I'm at today. I mean, I'm a talker, dude. You gotta almost stop me in some questions that we have coming up before you even tell me, or I'm gonna make our podcast be 4 hours long. I like to talk. But it's a skill, man. It's something that has gotten me, it's played a very big role into my success and into where I am today. Being able to communicate, being able to be fearless, to talk to anybody, no matter who they are. I've been super blessed to meet super large public figure people. I have phenomenal public figure business partners, Gary Brecka and Mark Wahlberg. If I was some weird, awkward, not professional guy that didn't have good people skills, they possibly wouldn't be my business partners. I'm not saying that was a main
Yeah.
decision maker, and then making a decision to be a business partner with me in my business. But um, having people skills is so powerful, man. And I see so many people that are so, hesitant to have a conversation or scared to approach somebody. It impacts so many things in your life, from you approaching that woman at the bar that might one day end up being your wife, or approaching that guy at the gym that's in the shape you want to become, that you want to get into. And you just simply need a few pointers or a little bit of motivation. And it's a guy that you see and you're like, dude, I want that physique. And little do you know, you wait 8 months to say something to him, and he gives you 3 pointers, and 30 days later, you're in the best shape of
Yeah.
your life, right? It's like you could have done that 8 months ago, and you would have already have been there 7 months ago. Um, Also with business, people having people skills, having communication skills. Like, I am somebody that is willing to accept conflict. I'm willing to accept hard conversations because I know after that hard conversation, nothing but good usually follows. I have a release of tension. I have a release of stress or anxiety that I get to release by saying it out loud. It gets off my chest. And now, what is next after it is said? A solution and stepping forward to get past it and resolving it, right? My business partner, we have hard conversations. Hey, you need to step it up. Hey, I didn't like what you did the other day. Hey, this is going on and I don't feel good about it. Can we talk about it? Our bond is incredible because of that. So it's also helped in every other category of my life, which here I am talking about it for way longer than I should. So I'll stop there.
Well, okay, so when you say people skills, it sounds like you're very bold and you're not a people pleaser. Like you don't really care what other people's opinions are. Did pressure washing give you that? Or because the people that I know like that, like they're kind of always born that way.
Yeah. I was partly born that way because that's how my dad is. My dad will talk anyone's ear off and he'll talk to anybody. He'll talk to anybody the same way, no matter who they are. I think pressure washing instigated and started a lot of it. I think part of my childhood and the way I was raised and the type of father I have, and obviously I'm his son, I'm a lot like
Yeah.
him. That was a part of it. But I would say with pressure washing, I would knock on a stranger's door and I would ask them if they would want me to pressure wash their driveway.
Yeah, that
I
sucks.
would I would I would walk neighborhoods and put door hanging flyers on people's doors with the opportunity of people coming outside and saying, "Get in the F off my property," or "What are you doing?" But that would then initiate a conversation. If I was scared and didn't have people skills, I wouldn't look at that as an opportunity to close a client for pressure washing. I would be like, "Sorry, sir, like it won't happen again." Instead, I was like, "Yeah, I'm on your property. I'm here to see if you want to get your nasty ass driveway pressure washed." Like, now, yet again, what does that response entail? That it is a lot of boldness,
Yeah.
which I do have, which is a lot of power. But in my
It almost
opinion,
reminds me of, like, what you said to Steve that one time, right? Didn't you tell him, like, to fuck off after he didn't promote the cold plunge?
uh,
Are we allowed to talk about that?
that was
Or no?
another creator. I don't wanna say it because now he's doing business with one of my mutual friends. I doubt he would see this, but yes, I have
Okay.
told public figures, people that most people would kiss their ass, um, they disrespected me and show me how big their ego is and don't respect my business and me donating a $7,000 cold plunge, and the least they can do is give me a shout out and they don't do it. Yeah, I'll tell them directly to their face, regardless of who they are. They're a human. You can go fuck yourself, dude. What the hell, you know?
And you know what's fascinating about that is then those types of people usually put way more respect on your name and then come back crawling to
You know
you,
what's funny?
which is you wouldn't think it'd
You
work
know
like
what's
that.
funny? That's so true because that exact person that I'm talking about followed me off one of my trial reels a week ago,
Really?
which he
No
probably
way.
forgot, right? Because he's so big and has so many cool things going on and he's better than everybody else. But yeah, I remember who he was. And when I saw his name come up on my screen and he was following me, I'm like, huh, funny how tables turn, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so on the topic of people skills, um, you told me, and I remember this at the gym. I enjoyed when you told me this because something I talked to my parents and my brother a lot is like, because my brother's always got fucking he's always got girl issues, and he's like walking me through some of this stuff. I'm like, you got to do push pull a little bit better, like not be so eager to go after
Yeah.
people. So in like a business sense, when we think of human nature playing the people game. It's a little bit of seduction, everything's seduction, maybe a little bit of strategic manipulation. There's manipulation all the time. How do you approach that with people to kind of get others to come to you and to chase after you?
I think a lot of it is the confidence of like showing them, like, if you don't feel like you need me or you don't feel like we're aligned or you don't feel like we're on the same level, like I could care less to go out of my way to try to have a relationship with you, whether that's a business relationship or a friendship or whatever. I feel like people people have a bad impression on you, but you show them that you're confident and you aren't affected by them not showing you that they accept you. And then they're like, wow, like this guy's like super confident. Like maybe I should give him a second chance and really see why he is confident. That's kind of how I look at it is, I'm in Miami. Okay. Miami is full of people with or without money. Everyone acts like they have money. Everyone acts like they're better than everybody else. And that's one thing I don't technically love about Miami. There's a lot of amazing things about Miami, but Miami is a great place to really practice exactly what we're talking about, which is people make you feel like you're gum on their shoe, or they, you'll meet somebody and they don't even know who you are, and then right away they like disrespect you. They're like, what's up, man? My name's so and so, and they came looking you in the eyes, and you're like a networking event, and you're like, I'm like standing there, and I'm like looking at him in his eyes. I'm like, what's up, man? My name's Sam. How, and there's like, what's up, dude? And then like, they're like trying to show their AP or whatever, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you do? And like, oh, I own whatever, and whatever. I'm like, they're like beating around the bush. I'm like, what do you actually do? And then they're like, damn, he's being like direct. Like, why is he making me say what I do? And I'm like, what do you do, dude? Like, I mean, you're wearing a nice suit. Like, you got a $150,000 watch on. Like, share what you do. And they're like, dang, like this guy's relentless. And he's like, oh, well, I actually own this. And then they open up a little bit. It's like people like radiate the people that aren't soft. Like softness is weakness, right? And like women, for example, I was sharing this the other day with a friend of mine who's going through something with a girl. And he's like, dude, like she's not answering me. I've called her multiple times and this and that. And I'm like, dude, I've been there before. I'm like, women are not attracted to men that are insecure. Women are attracted to men that are confident and not insecure. You are showing her that you are weak and that you are insecure, and you feel like she is your best and only option. You need to make her feel like she is not your only option. You could go find another woman. You're not replaceable. She is. Who have I learned that from? Kian, for sure.
Yeah.
Because that was one of my problems. But yet again, that's the same type of thing we're talking about here. It's just confidence, dude. Showing people that you're confident and you have a healthy ego. Not that you're a prick, you know?
So, your advice to that friend that's struggling with the girl issues, and I've been there so many times. Like I think some with me especially is I get very narrow sighted. So like when I lock in a target, it's just target, everything else is noise. This is the only person I can think about. And so if you were to consult me on that, how would you approach that? Like obviously, if you have a target and you want to go and chase after and court this girl, it's tough sometimes not to give them attention, but you know you need to, and you wanna make sure that you're not always available. Like, what advice would you give to someone?
Yeah, I mean, I went through that with the woman that I'm with, where we've been together now almost 2 years. I wanted her and she didn't want me. She just got out of a relationship, and I set my eyes on the target, like you just said, and I just moved to Miami, and there's a lot of beautiful women in Miami, but she was the only one that got my attention. And after I met her, no other woman had my attention. I was like, that's my target. That's what I want. I want this bullseye. I want her. And I feel like I secured the bag, you could say, because during the 30, 45 days that she was back and forth of giving me attention and then not, it was like 50-50. If I would show her that I was interested. When I had the opportunity with her attention, I would take advantage of it. I would do the kind gestures, show her I was a gentleman, wouldn't talk about myself. I wouldn't do the normal guy douchey thing, which is something that I caught in the past I would do wrong. I would try to prove myself too much. I would act like someone that I'm not. I was just myself. I was just direct. I showed her that I was a gentleman, and I showed her a little taste, the best I could, of what type of man I am and how I would treat her if she was my woman. But if she didn't contact me, I wouldn't go out of my way to blow her up or text her. Like, hey, she didn't text me today. I'm not going to text her. She didn't text me the next day. I'm not going to text her. Okay, 3 days has gone by. I'm going to text her and say, hey, happy Wednesday. Hope you have an amazing day. Just want to let you know I was thinking about you this morning and hope I could see you again soon. If she doesn't respond, she doesn't want me. She's not worth my energy. I need to get over it. If she does not feel like I'm a good fit, then we're not meant to be. And maybe she changes her mind and she's going through something you don't know about, and she's doing whatever, and she gets back to you 2-3 days later. Great. I'll most likely not have moved on just 2 or 3 days after she hasn't responded to me. But my mindset's not going to be like, fuck this girl. Like I'm too fucking good for her. Like blah, blah, blah. It's just like, nah, like, hey, guess what? You know, she got my attention, but maybe she's not me. The real truth here is put it in God's hands. That's what I used to never do. I allow God now more than ever, and we don't have to make this a long conversation because I'm currently working on my Christianity and my faith and all that stuff. It makes me uncomfortable to talk about, but I'm purposely force myself to talk about it because I want God to
Yeah, let
hear
it flow.
that I am trying.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of the things that happen in my life and even the things I'm going through right now, like I just allow God to be the center of my life. Closed doors that need to be closed and open new doors that need to be opened. Going through a hard time with my girlfriend or even beforehand, God, if she's the one, show me. If she's not, show me. And I let him do his thing, dude. And some people watching this might not believe in God or might think that's crazy, and that's perfectly fine. I have been in your shoes before. I have thought the same exact thing. But once I accepted God and I believed in God and I prioritized my relationship with God, I do allow him to help me make those decisions and to show me the way. And usually he always shows me the right answer.
So I hear that a lot, and I ask the Lord every single day too, like let me break down my wall and just like go and lead and show me. But when you start giving specific examples like that, I haven't really heard too many people talk about like how has God actually shown you the way in your life? A specific example.
Um, Last Sunday, keep in mind, I've been praying nearly every day. I haven't been perfect, but I've been praying almost every day, which I've never done before in my entire life. I've been the most consistent I ever have this year. I haven't read the Bible every day or every week, but I've read the Bible a few times. I'm trying to do it at least once a week. And I've been going to church way more, and I feel more connected to God than ever. And the last several weeks have been very challenging. I've been very miserable. I've been miserable to be around. I've just had a lot of stress that has been consuming me. And I've been so stressed out that I've been oblivious of how it's allowing me to act. As in my words with my girl, you know, she lives with me. So she gets the best, but also the worst of me because she's around me when I'm at my best and my worst, because she's around me more than anybody. Um, so over the last few weeks, my girlfriend has been complaining to me that, you know, I'm a woman. Like I need, you know, I need your attention. I need the affection. Like I don't need it every day. I'm not asking for the world. I support what you're chasing and what you're doing. But it's been weeks, Sam, that you've gone out of your way to make any type of plans with me. The way you talk to me, the way you touch me, you know, is making me feel like you don't love me the same anymore. Um, and I would acknowledge it, but I was just my brain wasn't turned off where like she's speaking to me and I just wasn't there in the moment. I'm thinking about
Yeah.
stress, right? And and I also would blame her. I was being weak. Her bitching at me. I'm like, why are you bitching at me? Like I'm working so hard. Like I provide, I pay for everything. Like I told you that I'm gonna be working hard. Like how dare you like be bitching at me right now? And like I wasn't taking accountability. Um, on Sunday, her and I finally, you know, went out of my way, which I wanted to. It wasn't forced, but I was listening and I was trying to show her like you are a priority. I've been going through a lot, but hey, this Sunday, let's go to brunch and let's spend the day together. Um, we went to lunch and she asked to go on my cell phone. And we have like an open relationship in regards to like our phones are open. Like we don't check each other's phones. We're not in a toxic relationship, but we know each other's passwords and whatever. And it's normal for her to say like, "Hey, hand me your phone."
Yeah.
I handed her my phone and she wanted to go through my camera roll on some videos I took at her event that she just had up in New York the prior weekend.
Yeah.
And she, after a few minutes, was still on my phone and I'm like, I got like 12 pieces of content from that like event. Like, what is she doing on my phone still? And I wasn't like questioning like I know there's something on my phone that she shouldn't be looking at, but I was just wondering like, what is she doing? And she looks up at me and she's like, "Who is this?" And that's the last thing you want your woman to do is turn and say, "Who is this?" And it was a girl's
Yeah.
profile. And I'm direct and I'm honest, and she is too. And I was just fast to react. And I was like, that's a girl I used to hook up with. And she goes, backspace, or no, she's on profile and then she clicks messages. And then she goes, explain this. Now, to make clear for any of the viewers, people watching this, I did not cheat. I'm a loyal man. But 12 months ago, this girl that 4 years ago I used to hook up with reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I'm coming to Miami. What would your woman want you to do in that moment? Go fuck yourself, bitch. I got a girlfriend. Fuck you. You're a whore." Like that's how your girlfriend wants you to react, right? Now, me, I'm in a relationship in several years, but that's not an excuse, right? Like I do respect my woman, but the way I engaged with this girl was not respectful, which I take accountability for. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's because I was enjoying for the first time. I was with my girl for 5 months at that time. I was enjoying for the first time in 5 months that another girl was like flirting with me. I don't know. That we've had this conversation. Does a girl wants you to when you mess up, a girl wants to know the why. She's like, there's a why to everything. I want to know why you did this, right?
Yeah.
But the moral of the story is all this happens, and my last messages to this girl were like, LOL, you're trying to get me in trouble. I can't, I'm loyal. I felt like I did the right thing, right? I said I can, I'm loyal, but I shouldn't have said LOL, and I shouldn't have engaged in the conversation in the first place. She storms off. She says she's not hungry. She cancels her order at brunch, and she's like, I'm doing my own thing today. I'm gonna leave your keys outside the apartment and don't expect me home tonight, blah blah blah. She's Latina, so Latinas are a little spicy, which I'll admit I kind of like, that I've discovered. But most girls would probably reacted that way. But I just decided to sit in the moment. And she walked away. I know how she is when she gets mad. She needs her space. I ate brunch by myself. I ordered an extra cappuccino, sat there for an hour and a half, and I just thought. And I was like, my girlfriend hasn't checked my phone in months. She's never had to. But it's not a coincidence that today she wants to check my phone and somehow she discovers a DM conversation that happened 12 months ago. Now, she discovered it because the girl liked my story and she was going through my story stuff and whatever. Girls are smart. That's, I guess, their way of digging. But the way I looked at that was God made that happen for a reason. Because what happened after that? It grounded me, dude. It humbled me. It put me in my spot, and it didn't just teach me a lesson in that exact situation. It allowed me real time to think about what I have been putting my girlfriend through for actually not the last 4 weeks, but for the last several months. She had been complaining to me that I don't post her on Instagram. I was disregarding it. I'm like, babe, like my personal brand that I'm working on, it's all business. Like I'm not doing it intentionally. It's only been a little while since I posted about you. No, I didn't post her on my story in 6 months. I haven't posted an actual end feed post just about her in almost 6 months. I'm not saying that you have to. I'm not getting at like you got to post your girlfriend 24/7, but it's the little things that add up, and women have emotions, right? They want to feel valued. They want you to show them off. I always used to do that. I hadn't done that in not just a few weeks, 6 months. And I was obviously in the moment. I'm like going through my Instagram, and then like I click on my roll on my highlight like reel with her, and I'm like scrolling through our memories, and like I'm like, holy crap, the last one is like 6 months ago. And then I just kept
Dang.
diving deeper and deeper. And I was like, I snapped at her at the airport last weekend in LaGuardia for no reason. Like, that's the last time we fought. And then the week before that, like, I told her we were going to read the Bible on Wednesday. And she sat around waiting for me to read the Bible. And I did calls until 10 o'clock and then went and laid with her in bed and said, let's go to bed. And then the next morning, she was like, just so you know, I was waiting for you all night because you said we'd read the Bible and you didn't. And it just all started hitting me, dude. And I'm just like, God literally just made this happen for a reason. It's not a coincidence that a year ago DM conversation just came out of nowhere and my girlfriend discovered it.
Yeah.
God needed me to be grounded like that and to be humbled like that and to be reminded I can't take her for granted and be comfortable in this relationship. As a man, I still have to provide. And I still need to be a good, caring man to my woman. And that's what I hadn't been doing. So it unfortunately took that to get my attention, and we're going on, a week since then, and things have been great. And obviously, I need to keep it up. But that's a really good example. That was a long explanation, but I think that's proof right there.
Yeah. What I would say is something that I am nervous about, and I know that I have never been good with in the past, long story short, when I've been in relationships, I kind of fall out of love to an extent,
Yeah.
and I kinda get in the same situation as you do. It's like I tune the girl out, and I almost feel like resentment towards them to some extent because they're taking away my time and focus from, like, trying to fucking make something happen.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a little bit you deal with that. But, like, how are you managing with that right now? Because that's a really scary thing.
Yeah.
Like, someday you're gonna have a wife,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a ring, and then you're gonna have kids. You can't have that resentment towards your partner.
Yeah.
It's all on you in that situation.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think it really does come down to, I've seen, I don't know if it was Warren Buffett or whoever, but they always say, right, the biggest decision you'll ever make in your life is the woman that you decide to marry. And I believe in that tremendously. And I think a benefit I have and why we have made it as long as we have made it. And I think she's the one. And I know she's the one. And I want to be with her forever. I've made that commitment. She's also a business owner. So, she doesn't run a 8-figure company. I mean, hopefully one day she is, if that's what she wants to do, but she has like a passion business that's turning into a ton of success right now. It's like a women's community. And she's been working a lot harder lately. And I realized that in the past, I've told my woman that I felt like I was dating a bum. Like I've had really hard conversations with her. I'm like, listen, like I'm not, it was earlier in our relationship, but she's like, I feel like you're really distant and this and that. And I was like, listen, like think about our dynamic. I work my ass off. I work 60, 70 hours a week. You work for yourself, but you work like 10 hours a week and you don't make any money. And you haven't been taking care of yourself. You haven't been going to the gym and you have all the free time in the world. And all you do every day is wait around for me to get home. How can I be attracted to that? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a high achiever. I like to work. I want to build an empire. I want to build generational wealth. I want to impact as many lives as possible. I want to make money to build schools in other countries that are poor, all this stuff. I need a woman that somewhat operates the same as me. Not all the way up
Mm.
here, but not all the way at the bottom. You got to be somewhere on here, right? So I think one reason why this dynamic works, because like you said, right, we're similar in a lot of ways, and that's how I am as well. Put them on the back burner, business, making money comes first. I think we do well because she supports me and believes in me. She really does love me. She loves me and supports me the same every single day. And I say that to everybody that asks me about my relationship. Whether we had a bad night or we had an amazing night, the next morning's a fresh day. And she lets me walk out that door feeling loved. Have a great day. She supports me and she sees what I go through every single day. And she acknowledges it. Like, babe, I know you're working hard. I just want to say I'm proud of you. Like it's constant. And
That's
she
good.
believes in me and she has accepted because I made it clear from the very beginning when we started dating. I've been single for 4 years for a reason. I have been prioritizing me and my future and building an empire. If you're going to interrupt that and be a part of that, you got to be in it for the ride and be ready for a roller coaster. Because until I sell this business, you are probably going to be second quite often. But the
You
other
told us
truth
that.
is after I sell this business, I ain't gonna stop. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm gonna go do
Yeah.
another thing. I'm gonna take things I liked from the prior business and things I didn't like and choose my next decision based off the things I liked and make sure it doesn't include majority of the things I didn't like about this. But at the same time, I'm gonna continue to work hard. So just so you know, being with an entrepreneur is not easy. I'm not going to be around all the time. You need to occupy yourself. You need to have your own hobbies. You need to make sure you have your own friends, and you cannot be dependent on me for all of your happiness. And you also need to be achieving your own goals. I don't care how much
I
money you make, but if you say you're going to do something and you want
agree.
something and you want to get somewhere, you need to also be accomplishing goals and achievements while I'm doing the same thing. Or I'm not going to be attracted to you and this isn't going to work. That's how our relationship dynamic is. She has her own friends. She has her own hobbies. She doesn't have to go to run club only if I go. She doesn't have to
Yeah.
go to the gym for a high rocks workout unless I go. She is now independent and she was not like that at first. But to show me how committed she is on how bad she wants us and how much she believes in me, we've had the conversations. And she's like, I am not expecting a lot because I support in you and I know we are forever. But all I ask for is when you do have a little bit of free time, you go out of your way to make me feel like I'm loved and I am your next priority. And that's kind of our dynamic. She doesn't expect it all, but she knows with my new schedule of Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, what do we have on Wednesday? We got a date night. I booked us a
Mhm.
reservation somewhere and we're going to do something that I know she's going to love. She's going to love. It's not about the money, it's just about the time. She does not care about money. She just cares about my attention and me being present with her and making memories.
I gotcha.
So that way also now, like, she knows right now, she's not blowing me up. She hasn't called me while we're on this podcast. I've been on call since 8 o'clock this morning. She knows Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, babe, I'm home when I'm home. But you can rely on whether we have plans or not. Wednesday evenings, I'm yours. Friday evenings, I'm yours. We've had
I
to
like that.
figure out that middle ground, you know?
So I went on a dating segment show. This was a couple months ago. It just got posted, but
Okay.
it's a blind dating show.
Okay.
So I was thinking about beforehand, like, what are these questions these people are gonna ask me? Because I want to be ready. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I was thinking like one common question they may ask is like, what's attractive to you? And I was thinking, in a girl, what's attractive? Number one being super feminine. That is extremely attractive to me. Like, just femininity. You gotta love
Yeah.
the innocent feminine girl.
Yeah.
But the next thing that was really attractive to me when I thought about it was a very independent girl, meaning they don't need me. I will absolutely be the one providing, but they don't need me. They're not sitting when you say sitting at home waiting, where they can only go to the gym when I go, I'm like, God, it really reminds me of some of the relationships I've been in the past, and it's super unattractive. Like, it's you don't want that. And almost that when a girl's like super independent, it's almost back to the little art of seduction right there. It's
Yep.
like push pull. It's like push, push, push. I don't need you. Come and chase me. And it's kind of fun. Like, it's a fun game. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shit. Um, man, what else? What? Oh, this is what I want to talk about. Adderall. Adderall. So, I know you were addicted to Adderall in the past, and the reason I bring this up, there was a I'm gonna keep as many details out as possible just because if I was in the situation, I wouldn't want it out. But there's this person in college heavily addicted to Adderall, like bad.
Yeah.
This person from freshman year to senior year, you'd see this person, you're like, holy shit, what is going on? Like drug addict. Something just happened recently where like involved with legal stuff, and my inclination is it's due to some of the drug dependency and withdrawal, whatever. You went on Adderall, I think, during the drop shipping stages of your life. What was that like? What were the side effects of it?
Yeah. So I was actually on it since I think I was 13 or 14 years old. I was prescribed to it at a really young age. And I wouldn't really have considered it an addiction in like high school. It was just what the system is the system. I went to a doctor. I got severe ADHD. I was in the slow classes in high school. I got extra time on tests, and I was told I needed Adderall to focus better. So I got on it at a young age, which naturally, what did that create? Dependency on. If I didn't take that medication, I felt like a slob and I couldn't focus, and I was psychologically, I was convinced I needed that medication, that pill every day to be productive and to operate. Once I got into college, it was kind of the norm of Adderall is the healthy Coke. Yo, bro, like, yes, we use it to study and people take it to study and it becomes more known in college as kind of a casual thing where it's like, yo, who's got Addy or Vyvanse? Like, I got to pull an all-nighter tonight for a test, right?
Yeah,
But I didn't use Adderall in college, as I talked about earlier, for me to ace tests and to study. I was taking Adderall at the time to go out, to pull an all-nighter partying. If I didn't have it, naturally, would that create me to go find other uppers that made me feel the same type of way, which was cocaine, which I wasn't ever addicted to cocaine. But the only reason why I ever did cocaine, buy cocaine, or do it was because I was itching that same like high high focused, alert feeling that Adderall gave me.
Yeah.
And it was just so normal in college. I mean, anyone hearing this has been in college and you've been there, right? Adderall is just like a common, normalized drug, right?
Yeah.
And you hear it on the women and the men's side. Girls are slinging it to friends for tests or when they go out or to lose a little bit of weight. I mean, it's messed up. Um, and as I was in college, I went to the doctor and, every appointment, every checkup, they ask you, how's the medication been? Is it still working? Blah, blah, blah. And I really started to get hints and see like every time I go in there and tell them like it's not really working, I always get what I want. I always get a little bit more. So that was when the addiction really started, was when I was strategically going to appointments, really not needing more, but I felt like I needed more. And I tried to squeeze what I could get every time. So I
Sure.
went from like 30 milligrams, let's say, to like 50 milligrams of Adderall. And then once I got out of college and I dropped out and I was doing pressure washing, I was pressure washing like Taco Bells and Starbucks and Chick-fil-A drive-throughs, and you have to do them during their close. So I would start at like 9 p.m. and I would pressure wash all the way until sunrise. Well, naturally, how am I going to do that? I'm going to take an Adderall. I'm going to sleep a little bit during the day and I'm just going to take an Adderall. It's the easiest way. It's just take a pill and I don't have to sleep. So I
Yeah.
went to the doctor and I asked for, more Adderall again for like the third or fourth time. And they gave me a second bottle. They gave me 50 milligram, like extended releases or instant releases. And then they gave me like 10 milligram, like instant releases, where it's like I had like the all day subscription, but if I ever needed that extra like little nudge, like they gave me 30 more of them. So I went from 30 pills a day to 60 pills a day. And that is when the addiction really started, because I now had access to twice the amount of supply and I started taking them nonstop. And I started to acknowledge I wasn't sleeping for a day or two at a time. It made me bipolar. It made me angry because I'm sleep deprived. It made me focus on things I shouldn't have focused on. Instead of like pressure washing or sending invoices, I was cleaning my shoes and dusting my fan and like reorganizing my room. I mean, it just made me like a maniac, just like
Really?
a crackhead. Yeah, it had me like, because I had so much ADHD that like I just started identifying. I was oblivious of it at the time, but like I prioritized my focus and my energy on like the wrong things. I wouldn't focus on the things that I really should have been doing. Um, and when I started doing drop shipping, I got that dopamine hit of getting that cha-ching sound on Shopify and making money online. And when I learned how to drop ship, I didn't sleep for 3 days straight. I took 3 Adderall a day for 3 days straight. I didn't sleep legitimately for 3 days. I barely left the WeWork space that I was getting taught at. The guy would go upstairs to his apartment to sleep and come back downstairs 6, 7 hours later. And I was in the same chair for 3 days straight. The guy that was teaching me. And it was horrible, man. Now I finally had real use for the medication. I was making money online. I was making more money than I ever had
Yeah.
before. And it made me feel like I was, ChatGPT wasn't a thing at a time, but I felt like I was the smartest human being in the world. I was like, dude, like I got Adderall, I got Shopify, I know how to do it, I know how to run ads. Like I'm gonna outwork everybody and I'm gonna become a millionaire in like 6 months. Like it's right in front of me. And I did that for 5 years. 5 years. I was such a hothead. I was such a crackhead. I mean, I was known as like Sam Maxwell, the kid that's cracked on Adderall. Like, I mean, it's a joke with all the kids I learned how to do ecom with, all my friends from high school. No friends of mine could ever come to me to buy my Adderall. I would run out of Adderall and I would go find more Adderall to buy. I would never be the person to ask to buy my Adderall. They knew not to ask because I wouldn't share. I had a secret stash at all times. I would never run out, but if I did, I would freak out. And when I hit rock bottom about 4 years ago, I was running 20 Amazon stores at a time. I was running a high ticket photo booth brand as well. Photo booth brand had a lot of success at first. We went from 0 to 1 million in 94 days. And keep in mind, why was I doing so much at once? As I always did, because of Adderall. I was doing 20 Amazon stores. I had a brand of my own. I was doing so much at once because I felt like I was capable of doing it, even though I learned the hard lesson if you focus on one thing, you actually could probably get a lot farther ahead than getting 5% of your energy on all these different things.
Yeah.
And all those businesses hit the fan, man. All of them did. You know, the photo booth business plateaued, the trend died, the demand wasn't there, the market wasn't there, the Amazon changed their policies. I went from making like 6 figures a month in profit to making nothing, and then investors needing to get paid back, and money being held on payment processors. And I was sitting at my office one night smoking a joint on Adderall at 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to calm my mind down. And I was watching Shark Tank. And I was watching now my maybe only competitor in the cold plunge space at the time. They were on Shark Tank. And it got my attention. And it didn't really get my attention as a business idea, to be honest. I would say if it did. It got my attention because they were talking about like the mental clarity and the dopamine hit and like the natural energy that it like creates. And it was only like 2 to 3 minutes. And I was like, this is probably the placebo effect. This is bull crap. But somehow this company is doing a few $1,000,000 a year. They closed a deal on Shark Tank with one of the sharks. So I started doing research. And I saw one article that ice baths and cold water therapy could possibly be a substitution for medication for people battling with severe ADHD, because there is a dopamine hit that is similar to doing a bump of cocaine, but it lasts for 4 to 6 hours with no crash. And I was
Mm.
like, sold. I'm like, if this is true, this is unbelievable. This is going to help me. I bought a plastic barrel. I bought ice every single day. I was cold plunging in nasty, sweaty, still water for 30 days straight, never cleaned the water out. I was just replacing the ice every day. I did it for 30 days. And after 30 days, I didn't realize until on day 30, holy shit, I haven't thought of Adderall once.
Really?
And I haven't taken that.
I'm that bad of an addiction to nothing. 30
Yeah.
days. Cold plunge.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
I literally, I remember looking at myself in the mirror, like drying off after getting out of the freezing cold ice bath. It was like 32 degrees outside in Georgia at the time. And the ice bath was probably just at freezing because the water wasn't frozen over, but it felt like it was below freezing. I was drying myself off in the bathroom in my warehouse, and it like the light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, I just beat my Adderall addiction. And then I started getting vulnerable about it. And I was like, I had a horrible addiction I really wasn't even aware of. Like, I started going to my friends and I'm like, dude, I'm 30 days off Adderall. Like, I'm so proud of myself. Excuse me. And that's when my parents started saying, like, we were scared to confront you about it. Other loved ones were like, dude, we're so happy for you. Like, dude, like you were a miserable person to be around. And I was like, I was, and I'm sorry. Because they were scared
Wow.
to confront me about it, because that's how mean and just like just short-tempered I was. I mean, dude, my parents would say something to me, like I would go home while I was drop shipping. I would go home for like a family dinner, and I would arrive when the food was ready. I would sit, I would eat, and I would immediately put my plate in the sink, maybe help with dishes. I'll take accountability, probably not. And I would be like, all right, mom, love you. All right, dad, love you. I gotta go. I gotta get back to work. And then it's like a Sunday night, like 6 p.m. And they're like, what? Like, you've been home for 37 minutes. Like, we never see you. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I gotta get back to work. I gotta go. I gotta run ads. Like, I was just tweaked, dude. I was like a fucking maniac. And in reality, I didn't fucking have to go back to work. I wanted to. I wanted to get back on my computer. I wanted to put another freaking nicotine pouch in my fucking lip, and I wanted to fucking work all night long. Like, that's what it made me. So it changed my life, dude. That's why I started my business. And obviously we can wrap this up if you want, talking more about the cold life or whatever you want. But it was a bad
Yeah,
addiction.
dude, for someone who's never taken Adderall or is not sure what it's like sober, what does it do for you? Do to you?
Within 30 minutes of consuming that pill, you're gonna immediately notice you want to be active and you want to be doing things productive. You're like, it's like it's literally crack. It's like you'll be sitting on your desk at your office, like at your 9 to 5 job, like drinking your morning coffee and like maybe responding to emails. And then 30 minutes in, that stuff kicks in and you're typing faster. You got ChatGPT open. You're figuring out how to automate your entire 9 to 5 job to start a new side hustle. It just makes you like think faster, move quicker, and makes you work more.
That's scary. So, yeah, Adderall is very common in college, and there were times where in the back of my head, I'm like, "God, dude, if I took Adderall, the amount of work I would be able to get done and how productive I would be, it would be the most addicting." And I have an addictive personality, and I'm like,
Me too.
"It seems like such a fucking cheat code.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just take it?" But at the same time, I'm like, the minute I would take it and I would see the result of it, there's no possible way
Yeah.
that I'd ever be able to stop.
Yeah.
It would just be addicting, and you'd be hooked to it.
Yeah.
Also, with the addictions, like I did Zyn. I think I haven't done Zyn since November, and I asked Kian about that. Like, I wanna quit this, like, this shit is horrible, it's,
Oh
like,
no.
screwing everything up, and he goes, "You'll come to find that you won't have to rely on stimulants and external escapes when you are inner aligned, and you are doing something that aligns with your heart and where you wanna be." And so after I heard that, I thought about that, and I'm like, "Damn. If I quit my job and I'm still ripping Zen and doing some of this shit, is it for me? Like, then I'm just what am I doing?" And so that was a big thing that helped me out that, switched up a lot for me. But anyway, this has
Yeah, I
been,
remember,
fan
buddy. I remember we went to the gym. You had like 4 different flavored Zens in your bag. You offered me one.
it was bad. And I initially got into that because of work. I just needed to, like,
Yeah.
I need to fucking focus. I was at my internship, and it was so brutal, and I just needed something to keep me going like this, and that's actually what got me to it. But anyway, all right, we've covered a lot. You're the man. I always love talking to you. The cold life, you wanna pump the little new, feature that you got, or what you wanna talk about business related?
I mean, I'll give the quick spiel. So we're going on year 3 of growing the cold life. We're the only true American-made cold plunge company in the world. Manufacture all of our cold plunges right here in Miami, Florida. Been doing this for about 4 years total. We spent the first year developing the product, which keep in mind, it was my first time ever developing a product, same as my business partner. Our vision was similar to this Owala cup. We we were holding the tumbler cup one day and we are like, is there a way we could recreate a tumbler cup for cold plunging? It's got insulation, powder coated, it's modern, it's a premium price point, keeps things cold. And that's what we ended up creating successfully. Obviously, we've sold just over 6,000 units year to date now. Our cold plunges range from $4,000 to $12,000. And last year was our biggest year yet. We ended up about 6xing the business in 2025, which was
Damn.
remarkable, which means we worked really, really hard and I grew a little bit more salt and pepper hair. But that's the name of the game. But I will say that as I just shared my story with what cold plunging did for me, this is the first time in my entire life, in my entire entrepreneurial path, that I believe in what I do and I believe in what I sell, where that helps with the bad days compared to doing something that just pays the bills or doing something that I feel like has potential to make a lot of money. Those bad days really suck because I hate what I do and I don't believe in what I do compared to now for the first time ever when there is bad days, which are always you always will have those. As I was talking to you right before we started, January's been a bad month. It's unfortunately one of the coldest, winters this country's had in a very long time. It was 30 degrees in Miami this weekend, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's life, right? That's business. Things happen, and me having a passion for it helps, is what I'm getting at. And we had a huge realization about 6 months ago as we were scaling and growing our company and hit over 25 full-time employees at a time. And, we had to reflect on, the money is great as in sales, but we're not making still much money. And some businesses, that's part of the plan. You want to take over the market. You want to just stay in business until competitors drop, until you're the last one standing, which has kind of happened in our industry. Um, there's very few companies left now. There was about 50 running ads when we started, and I think today there's maybe 3 max running ads, and we're one of those 3.
Man.
But at the same time, this is a very tough business to be profitable in because it's a very expensive business to operate. We buy all of our inventory 120 days in advance. Our costs are super high because we make a premium product in the States, which is more expensive. And at the end of the day, we're not just doing this business to provide every American with the best cold plunge in the world for them to start incorporating it in their everyday life. We're also doing it to make money. So about 6 months ago, we decided we wanted to kind of transition our brand into not just being known as a cold plunge brand, but into a wellness brand that releases products all through the power of water. So before I started this company, one of the ideas I had was I wanted to start a filtered shower head product. And instead, we went with the cold plunge, which was fine. It was part of the plan and it got us where we are today. And we're going to continue selling cold plunges. But I went back to that and I said, you know what? We have a luxurious brand. The last 3 years has been worth every penny and every second to establish our brand being known with the good reputation that we sell and deliver every customer a high quality product. Now that we have that reputation, let's expand. Every other cold plunge company went to a sauna or went to another type of product. Everyone's copied each other. We're a leader in this space. We're not a follower. Let's rebrand to be a filtered water type company. And we spent 6 months developing the best filtered shower head on the market, just like our cold plunge. We bought every single competitor's product, sent it to labs, saw the actual data and science on how little their filters are actually filtering out the chlorine, the heavy metals, the microplastics out of the water. And we spent 6 months and over $100,000 developing our filtered shower head. The only other competitive one, best semi one on the market, they have lab results to prove that they tested their filter through 7,000 gallons of water. And after 7,000 gallons of water, it still got 50% of the chlorine, all the bad stuff out of the water. So what did we do? We tested ours through 10,000 gallons of water. We had to one up them. We didn't one up them by 1,000 gallons of water. We did it by 3,000 more gallons of water. And after 10,000 gallons of water, our final concept and our final prototype and design of our filter still got 75% of the chlorine and heavy metals and microplastics out of that water. So once we finalized the filter and we made the diameter of it also 25% larger than any other one on the market, we made sure as well it solved another problem. It delivered really good pressure, because a lot of people lack good water pressure. We launched it end of October of 2025, going into Black Friday and Christmas time. And we generated well over $500,000 in revenue. And we built up at the end of the year, we had just over 2,000 active subscribers. And that's something that we're really chasing this year and the following year. Over the next 2 years, we have a really big plan to release a lot more filtered water products. And I'll leave it at that. When they release, people will see them. And the way the world works, I'm sure you'll get my ads after this podcast. If you haven't seen my ads already, I apologize. You'll see my beautiful face all over your social media until you buy something. But that's what I'm currently up to. I have amazing business partners, Gary Brecka, a world-known biohacker, human biologist. He's an amazing guy, off camera, on camera. He's been an amazing addition to our company for mainly just top of funnel awareness, credibility, education. He does not promote a product that he doesn't use in his everyday life, so that really helps. People believe that it's the best because not just his status, but also he shows he does it every day and talks about the benefits. He's also the age of our ideal demographic or avatar of our customers are between 40 and 60 years old. I think Gary's in his early 50s. And then Gary's opened up a lot of doors to us, like John Jones, Derek Jeter, the list goes on of celebrities that have, purchased our cold plunge and use it every day for their training and recovery. And then he introduced us to Mark Wahlberg, Mr. 4 a.m. Club. Mark's the best, dude. Why is he the best? He cold plunges at 4 a.m. every day, 365 days a year, no matter where he is in the world. And he loves our product. Obviously, he's probably one of the biggest known actors in the world.
Yeah.
And he lives the life, and it's awesome. He's an awesome guy too. And that was kind of just like the extra icing on top of, like, we got Gary Brecka, like the health and wellness public figure, biohacker, the guy. And then we also have Mark Wahlberg, like one of the other most well-known faces in the entire world. We don't just have one guy, we have two. And that's been a huge asset to our growth and helping with our conversions on our ads. And, we're going through the growth pains, which I'm super honest about. And I like to share. I was sharing this with you right before we started the podcast, but, I've said a little bit of it on this call, but we're going through the growth pains. We've had to let some people go. We're having to conserve cash. Cash flow is a big issue with any e-com brand. It's expensive to operate. Margins are also low, but we're pivoting, man. We're moving. We're not stopping. We're building an empire. We're determined to make this work, and I'm going to make sure it does. And I'm super blessed, man. I'm very, very blessed that we are where we are. We've gotten through some of the hardest years. The first few years are usually, I always say, the hardest, and it's just a rat race from here, man, to the finish line. So that's a quick little spiel on the cold life and a little update. Super excited, man. We got a lot of exciting things. I got to get you your shower head. I haven't forgot
Yeah.
for that nasty ass New York water. Paying all that money in rent, but that tap water is old. Those pipes are
Fuck.
older than our grandparents. So
Yeah, I know, it's bad. Um, all right, well, we'll wrap it up there, but something I do wanna share, just before we wrap it up. I think something I really respect for you, is as a founder, how open you are about your story and, like, vulnerable, and there's no shame with anything. Like, a lot of can you imagine, like, other people going out there and sharing some of the difficulties relationships with parents or in college, like, screwing up multiple times, then you deal with an addiction and being very open about that stuff. I have a lot of respect for it, and I think it humanizes you, as a person, as a business owner, and it's something I am trying to do more and more. And it's not an easy thing. Like there has to be a level of self-confidence inside to be able to do this. And I think I'm still striving for that. But that is the one big thing that I just want to know that I really appreciate you and for you to come on the show and do that. So
no, bro.
Sam,
Thank
thank
you for
you.
having me, dude. I respect the hell out of you, bro. I'm so excited. I'm always watching from the sidelines as little or as much as we talk. I'm cheering you on, and you're just getting started. We all are. It's gonna be a great year, man. It's gonna be the best one yet.
Future looks bright. Everybody, thank you, Sam. Thank you for coming on Gross Potential.